Alright, so this is the first video I'm ever filming while driving. And so pardon me if I'm not really paying 100% attention. Yesterday, your main man, Andrew Wood, WWAD, had posted a call-out video to power gamers, or people sticking up for power gamers. And a couple months ago, he had seen my video from a year or two ago titled "Power Gaming is Wrong," or something like that. I don't remember the name of the title offhand, but something along those lines that I had done, where I had stuck up for people who are labeled power gamers. And I haven't watched that video in a while, but so I don't remember exactly what I said in that video. But this came up again recently. So he and I were talking about it a few months back, and about doing a video together where we discuss, debate, whatever, about power gaming and whether it's ever acceptable or not. And in our community, or communities, depending on how you look at it, there's a lot of people who will say power gaming is wrong. And they're very, I feel, singular focused. There's only one way to play the game, and if you're not playing it that way, you're doing it wrong, and you should just get out of this hobby. And I don't agree with that, because I feel like if they get out of the hobby, first of all, it's going to hurt the hobby. This industry needs all the money it can get. There are not very many game publishers who do this full time. Wizards of the Coast, they have a certain amount of employees. Paizo, I believe, has 30-some employees or something like that. Beyond that, Palladium Books has, I think, 5 employees, full-time employees. This industry is not very big. And so if you were to all of a sudden take one categorization of players and just pull them from the hobby and tell them, hey, go play World of Warcraft, or go play video games, go play wargaming instead, you're going to kill the hobby. When I was running encounters, more than half the players I had were power gamers. Now, when I say power gamers, here's another thing. I feel like there needs to be a clear definition of what a power gamer is. A lot of times, and this is what I was saying yesterday, I don't even know what the clear definition is. A lot of times when I hear people say that such and such is a power gamer, or, I had this power gamer, they're talking about other types of disruptive players once they tell you the story. Most of the time they don't tell you the story. They just say, oh, I had a power gamer, he wrecked my game. Okay, well, what'd he do? Oh, well, he was dominating all the combats and, killing everything, and it wasn't allowing another player to shine in combat. That's a spotlight hog. Or, oh, he was, he made sure that he brought a mirror with him, and, he knew that there would be a Medusa in this area because he had read the monster manual. That's a metagamer. Oh, okay. What else is there? I'm trying to even think. There's so many types of problem players, and oh, here's another good one, right? Oh, well, he stacked these feats that, he knew would make him extremely powerful, and when I told him he couldn't do that, he cited the rules in the book that said he could stack those feats together. That's a rules lawyer. So all these things are different types of problem players. They're not... I feel like I can't distinguish the difference between a power gamer and those things. For example, you can hear a story about a guy, right? The players using meta-knowledge, right? The difference between calling that guy a power gamer and a meta-gamer is based on how powerful he built his character. I feel like that's not fair. So you're saying whatever is on his paper is what dictates if he's a power gamer based on his, the other problem. Now, he could have an extremely weak character. Say he did 3d6 down the line, he ended up with terrible stats, he did not optimize, he was a fighter with a 12 strength, whereas you had a cleric with a 15 strength, 15, some higher stats. The guy who's disruptive with the 12 strength can't be called a power gamer now because he doesn't have a powerful character. Even if he's doing the same things that a quote-unquote power gamer is doing. And so that's, I think, my big issue with the power gamer label. Even in these discussions, people have said, oh, well, an optimizer isn't necessarily a bad thing. Okay, I feel like a power gamer is an optimizer. I don't necessarily feel... I don't... Again, I'm having trouble distinguishing the definitions between things, and I know some people in our community do consider themselves power gamers, and I think with them, they're in the same boat as me. I think we don't fully understand what you guys are talking about when you're calling someone a power gamer. And part of that is because a lot of people in our community are quick to call people power gamers when that isn't the actual issue. The actual issue is they're a piece of shit player. They're, trying to rules lawyer and tell a DM how he should run his game. They're trying to metagame, and, crap like that. If you want to say a power gamer is someone who tells another player, hey, you should have taken this feat or this ability, I can understand that now. And that's not something I do. I never sit there and say, oh, I can't believe you're using 2 short swords when you could use 2 long swords. That's not something I tell somebody they should or should not do. I try not to tell anybody how to make their characters or build their characters. And for me, that would be the only time I would say that's a disruptive power gamer. But for example, somebody who is just building a character. I do, and maybe this is part of my issue with people saying, oh, power gamers are bad. I do consider myself a little bit of a power gamer. I also consider myself a little bit of a rules lawyer. But when I say I'm a little bit of a power gamer, that doesn't mean I make all my characters to be optimized. When I have a concept, my concept might be, for example, I have that barbarian fighter I made, which I started off because I have the miniature that I'm going to use, and I really like the miniature. So I said, okay, what does this guy look like to me? He's dual wielder, he's got an axe and a longsword. He's very big and strong, clearly, but I decided because 5th edition has unarmored defense. Oops, sorry guys, I'm trying to fix this up again. Because barbarians have unarmored defense, I wanted a high dex and con. When I started building the character, I wasn't like, oh my gosh, I want maxed out, armor class and as high as strength I can get or anything like that. But that, even if I did, that doesn't matter. I mean, all I'm doing is building the character at this point. I'm not playing the game yet. Building character is not the game yet for me. So I ended up taking a couple stat bumps and things like that and ended up with what I did. But my concept was based on the miniature originally, and then I decided a barbarian fighter because I wanted to experiment with multi-classing. I haven't done it in 5th edition. This is my first character I've made that's a multi-classed character. And when I do one-shots, I experiment with different things. That's the fun of a one-shot for me, because even if the game ends up sucking, which I don't think it will, but even if the game sucks for whatever reason, I'll at least take something away from the game. I learn something about the system or, different options in the game, so it'll be a good experience for me regardless of how the actual game goes. When it comes to a campaign, I am less likely to optimize a character. I'm more, and I guess I would still optimize certain things depending on what the concept is. So for example, my barbarian, I took the dual wielding feat and the dual wielding fighting style, because my guy's a dual wielder. I'm not going to sit there and take great weapon fighting because it fits his story. Why would I do that if I'm never going to use that weapon? You know, so it just doesn't make sense. I don't like playing average characters. If I wanted to play an average character, I would just go live my life. You know, I'm pretty average, I'd say, at a lot of things. You know, when I'm sitting down to play D&D, I want to play a character who can be a hero. You know, that's the fun part of the fun in it. I want to play a character I'm going to enjoy playing. So if I'm just playing a guy who's just going through day-to-day life, going and hanging out at the tavern, spending money on wenches, going and farming, and then going home, then that's not going to be much fun for me. Not saying that's not going to be fun for everyone, it's just not going to be fun for me. So there's a lot of things with the Power Gamer label that bother me, because I've been called a Power Gamer, and I don't think I'm a disruptive Power Gamer. For example, I'm also not very simulationist. I am not someone who worries about playing games ultra realistically. I like things to be within my idea of what a fantasy game is a lot of times. For example, I love action movies. The Lord of the Rings movies, even the new ones, The Hobbit, loved them. I can suspend my disbelief. Okay, Legolas running up falling bricks, that was kind of stupid. But I actually thought it was kind of cool in a sense too, that they did something unique. It's not something I'll ever forget. That if there was anything I took out of any of those 6 movies, that'd be the only thing I would probably change. Because it is kind of stupid running up those bricks. But besides that, I have no problem with any of the Legolas scenes. Him running across their heads, it was a little bit funny, you know. I didn't mind that on the barrel ride. You know, I mean, to me it makes sense. The guy's probably got a 20 dex. You know, he's making those acrobatics and athletics checks like no other. So I don't have a problem with that. But I know some players and DMs who can't stand that kind of stuff at their table. If I'm playing a game and I want to do something crazy like swing off a chandelier, ride down the railing of the stairs, you know, on a shield, down some stairs, or whatever I want to do, I want that cinematic action movie feel. I love stuff like that. But it's not for everyone. So I think the biggest issue is styles. I've seen a lot of people say, for example, at Encounters I had one, well, it was actually towards the end of when I was running Encounters this past few months, and because I don't run it anymore, just became too much, you know, and the conflicts of personalities and everything just it drained on me. Loved some of the people, they're awesome people, and I enjoyed playing with some of them when you had the right mix of them. But sometimes it would be like pulling teeth, or, you know, I would get frustrated because it was just kind of obnoxious. So I don't run it anymore. But I had 2 weeks after I quit running it, I missed a session, and when I came back the following week, 2 people who had been butting heads for about a month because of different styles of play had a blow up, and it led to the tables being split among who wanted a lot of social interaction, not to be confused with role playing, and who wanted a lot of combat being split. Which was funny because then the people who wanted a lot of social interaction had combat, and the table that wanted combat didn't get a lot of combat. It was more investigation, so it was kind of funny. But the point was that the 2 people, and it was kind of silly to me, the whole argument, because we had one player, this girl, who wanted to she would say, well, I want to RP a lot. And it's like, okay, so RP your combat, you know, because role-playing has nothing to do, it is not exclusive from combat. You can RP combat, and that's the big misconception right there. And people always will say, oh, it's a power gamer because he wants to do a lot of combat. No, that's a hack and slash player. That's somebody who wants a lot of combat. They can RP it. You can be a hack and slash RPer, and that's awesome. I don't have a problem with that. In fact, I love that. I like some social interaction too. You know, I like a little bit of everything, as long as people are trying to RP at least a little bit. When there's no RP, the game sucks. I'm just saying that right now. If everyone's just talking in numbers, and that's it, and they don't want to figure anything out, they just want to go in and do the next thing, without any RP, that's obnoxious to me. So, anyways, back to what I was saying about those two, though. So she wanted to socially handle all encounters. Didn't matter what it was, she wanted to talk her way through every single encounter. And most of the people there didn't want that at all. Most people there wanted combat, you know? And I think that's pretty natural. I think most people do prefer combat. Now, when they had their big blow up, when I wasn't there, she called them all a bunch of power gamers, with hack and slash power gamers, which isn't true. If they were power gamers, first of all, they would have better built characters from a mechanical standpoint. And they freaking blew. I can't tell you guys how many times I dropped them with like 6 kobolds. You'd have a party of 5, and I'd kill them with 6 kobolds. They hated kobolds. That was when we were running through Horde of the Dragon King. But anyways, and then they called her, I don't know what they called her, but big blow up. And I think that's my big issue, is that because somebody likes a lot of combat, might not want a lot of social interaction, they get labeled a power gamer, and I feel like that's just a clash of styles. So too many times in our community, in other communities, do I see power gamers mislabeled, I guess is the best way to say it. And it's usually a style preference. I was talking to Main Man in a private chat while all these things were going on in the brigade, in the one-shot group yesterday, based on the video he made. And because Neftali, I hope I'm saying that right, was having some issues with Main Man and calling him an elitist. And I mean, I'll be the first to say it. I think Main Man is an elitist. I think he feels there is, and I know he feels there's only one way to play. He's very anti-power gamer, but I wonder what his actual definition is. I'm not going to say he's wrong necessarily. I'll joke and say that he's wrong. I think I did that a couple times yesterday. But I think the biggest issue is that we don't have an exact uniform definition. And you know, when I get home today, I'll check out the Pathfinder Game Mastery Guide, because they have that huge section on it. But I feel like I remember reading that and saying, you know, as I read through it, like, well, that's a meta gamer, that's this type of gamer. You know, I feel like there was never anything that was just unique to a power gamer. And so I feel like it's a made-up term, or whoever originally started using that term used it one way, and then people just thought they knew what it was and started using it incorrectly. I feel like that's what happened. I don't know. But yeah, because when I view a power gamer, when someone says, oh yeah, you know, that guy's a power gamer, the first thing that pops to my head is, oh man, they're an optimizer, you know. The other thing that's funny, people mention min-maxing as being a bad thing. I don't think it is. That's another thing. Just because a guy wants, for instance, say you're doing the point buy for 5th edition, 15, 15, 15, 8, 8, 8, that doesn't mean he's going to be a problematic player. You know, sure, he's probably going to put those stats all in strength, dex, and con if he's a fighter. Or if he's a wizard, he might go intelligence, constitution, dex, you know, or bard, charisma, dex, con, you know, whatever they're going to do. Dex and con usually are 2 of the big ones, but you know, who cares? I mean, that's not a bad thing, especially with the way 5th edition is designed. You're always going to have a weakness of some sort. So for example, in a min-max character, you're going to fail 3 of your 6 saves more often than not if you're required to make a saving throw. That's part of the beauty of 5th edition, I feel. Like, you always have some sort of weakness, even if your guy is optimized. There are ways around that, but you still have a weakness. You're not going to put as much damage out there if you're able to, you know, make all your saves, or, you know, so there's a lot of different things. But, yeah, so I don't think min-maxing is wrong. People will say, well, then you don't have balance. You'll have one character who's too powerful. And I don't believe there's something as too powerful. You know, you're basically being worried about having the spotlight stolen from you, and I think it's up to the players to share the spotlight equally. I think in the Provokers campaign, you can see that. We do a good job of not hogging the spotlight, no matter what the situation is, unless we can tell that the spotlight is meant for us at that time. You know, we defer to each other a lot, and I think a good player, regardless of what your style is, regardless of what your build is, you're going to notice at your table who's getting little attention or a lot of attention, and you'll be able to tell if you just think about it for a second. Well, why are they not getting the attention? Are they speaking up at all? So call them out, and don't call them out in a negative way. Just in the middle of play, in character, ask their character, well, what do you think of this? Or, hey, why don't you try this? You know, put the spotlight on them. A good player will steer spotlight when they feel a lull in the action. You know, a good DM can do the same thing. You know, if you have players who are quiet and not doing anything, and I've failed at this before, I've noticed lack of engagement too late before. You can have an NPC ask that player something. You can give an awesome narrative about how they handled this monster in combat, or how they handled this trap, or just, I mean, there's so many different things you can do. So I guess that's my point. I want us to have a clear definition of a power gamer, and yesterday I got 3 different definitions, right? And the one big one that I kept getting was that an optimizer was basically the issue. You know, you've got, sorry, there was a motorcycle cop in the center, and everybody slowed down to like 50. Basically, it was an optimizer. They said, oh, somebody who builds powerful characters. And then you throw on other problem player types on top of that. So, first we need to figure out what makes a power gamer different than a meta gamer and those other things. A spotlight hog, such and such. Okay? Before we can, I feel like we can truly say what a power gamer is. To say there's overlap is silly to me, because all you do is, like I said before, just switch the character sheet out with a weaker character sheet, and now you're calling them the other thing instead of a power gamer. Even though it's the exact same issue. It's them metagaming, you know, or rules lawyering, or spotlight hogging. So that's my issue, and you know, hopefully you guys will listen to this, take it to heart a little bit, weigh in on this, because I feel like I'm saying things that I haven't heard other people say in the community. You know, the only arguments I usually see people say is power gamers ruin the hobby for people. They run people out of the hobby, and you know, there's a lot. All problem players, all problem types run people out of the hobby. You know, people can't stand metagamers. Some people don't mind it. You know, some people hate spotlight hogs. In fact, I think most people hate spotlight hogs. You know, so that's a big issue there. You know, We've seen some of that in online games, and it kills it for a viewer too. Viewers hate watching one player hog the game, but that's just how it is. I mean, it is what it is. But I really think it's important to figure this out, because the other way, sorry, backtracking a little bit. So you see people say, for instance, in Andrew Wood's video, I heard throughout it how much Power Gamer ruins the hobby for people, and he had said that they need to RP. Well, you're talking about a Power Gamer can RP, so what's Power Gaming have to do with how much you RP? I don't think that makes sense to me. And so I haven't heard any good examples from anybody about how a Power Gamer ruined their games, made them quit the hobby, without it being a different problem player type that was actually the problem. So, But I'll hear Power Gamers, or people like me who stick up for that label, saying things like, thespians run people out of the hobby too. They do when they're spotlight hogs. Nobody wants to play a session or a campaign where one player hogs the spotlight the whole time. You don't want to play in a game where a guy is telling you or is dictating the whole game. That's not very much fun for people. And so that's my biggest issue on the whole matter. So I guess more examples are better from you guys. If you feel like Power Gaming has ruined your experience, give me a specific example of how it happened and why it was a Power Gamer and not the other problem player types. Because that's my big hang up on the label. I consider Neftali a Power Gamer. He's quick to tell people, oh, well, you could build this optimum build if that's what you're going for, this way. And, to me, that's what a Power Gamer is. It's someone who tells other people how they can build their characters from an optimization standpoint, when that might not be what that person wants to play. And I don't think he usually does it in a way that's annoying or obnoxious or anything like that. Heath did it in the W3 when I shared my Barbarian Fighter video the other day, telling me, well, you should have taken Great Weapon Fighting. And Great Weapon Fighting was not what I wanted to do. Do I want to deal a lot of damage? Sure. I think it's fun sometimes. It's not so much the damage output as it is the awesome story of the combat necessarily. Like, sometimes I just like to fuck shit up, I like to screw shit up in a game. But that doesn't mean I want to deal max damage necessarily possible. I don't want to sit here and play a paladin smiting something with a fighter action surge, and stuff like that. That's not something I want to do. So that's not what I made. I wanted a dual-wielding multi-class fighter. So I went Barbarian Fighter. Thought about, I think, Warlock Barbarian or Warlock Fighter. So I thought about a couple other things, but ultimately I wanted a Barbarian Fighter. I thought it'd be the most fun, and I thought it would be simple for me to play. That's part of the reason I don't like spellcasters, but I'm kind of getting off topic. Those I would feel like are Power Gamers, people that will sit there and tell you how you should have optimized your character. Because they're not worrying about their own character, they're not worrying... I guess it's not even that, because, again, when you post videos publicly and people tell you things, you're asking for their input, so I don't have a problem with that. It's when you're at the table, about to play a campaign together, and the person next to you is telling you which spells you should prepare that day, or what abilities you should take when you level up. They're basically telling you how to play your character. That is a Power Gamer to me. And that's how I would describe a Power Gamer. And I think a little bit of it isn't necessarily an issue. It's when it gets heated, or they do it to a point where they're getting upset with other players for not listening to their power gaming advice. So I guess when it comes down to it, that's what I think a power gamer is. And that is not the definition by what I've heard other people mention it as. Like I said, most of the definitions that I've heard from other people are other problem player types, so that are the actual issue. I almost saw an accident in front of me. But yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts. I think I've, presented my case. I think Main Man and I are going to do a video together, so you might hear some of these points again next week. Maybe he'll watch this and feel like it's not necessary. But, it'd still be cool to get to do a video with him. Main Man is one of the first, 3 channels I saw on YouTube back when I had my gallbladder surgery, and when it came to RPGs back in 2011 or 12 or something. But yeah, I think him, Tim Harper, Dawnforged Cast, those are the 3 I saw early on. And then Tetsubo, and which I don't think I'm subscribed to him anymore. Too much politics and garage sale stuff for me to follow anymore. I didn't have any problems with his channel. His content didn't appeal to me anymore. Even though I thought he had great RPG videos for a while. And some of his videos are still good. But anyways, I'm getting off topic again. So yeah, hopefully I'll do that with Main Man. If not, I understand that me doing this video might make it so there's no need for it. This is the first video I'm filming from my iPhone and while driving. I've never done this before. Well, I think I filmed one video with a video camera before. But, yeah, so let me know what you guys think of this type of film. I feel like I'm pulling an Ian or a Fantastic Dimensions now, driving and filming. Almost like a Ham and Opie video, minus the fact that I'm driving instead of just sitting there. So, power gaming. Is it wrong? I don't necessarily think it's wrong. It can be obnoxious based on my definition of it. It can be obnoxious to the point where you don't want to play with those people. Should power gamers leave the hobby? Hell no. The hobby's too small. The industry's too small. I want more people in it. I think that, you can bring a person like that into your table or your group, and they can see the fun that can be had without optimizing, without telling other players that they should optimize, and I think that it opens their eyes to things. I feel like I've seen this happen for players, especially with 5th edition. I've had players who have used to play one way and used to care about being the most powerful, and other people being the most powerful, and having the perfect party composition, and not care after a bit of playing 5th edition with me as DM. So, because I think I make it fun regardless. And I do also explain to them that death is not always final in a fantasy game. You can always fight in the afterlife for your life back. You can swear to a deity or, something else to come back to life. So I don't think there's that need to tell the whole group to optimize, which to me is what a power gamer is. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'm going to have to go back and watch this, but I feel like I brought up some good points. I feel like I made a strong case for why power gaming isn't necessarily wrong, but I feel like I also brought up some good points that we really need to think about when somebody is labeled power gamer, how they are actually ruining the game. Is it because they're a power gamer? Or are they mislabeled and really a meta gamer or rules lawyer or spotlight hog or, whatever. So, yeah. So, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Thank you. Bye.